What is going on, everybody? You already know it is a Friday night. It is 7 p.m., and you already know you're tuned into on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. It is Inside the Octagon. My name is Paul Spencer. That man is himself, the legend, the newest member of the team here, my man Josh Gordon. Josh, how we feeling this Friday night, brother?
All right, Paul. About yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really good, man. I'm doing really well. Yeah, I can't complain, man. Now, we always talk UFC, Josh, and we got a card tomorrow night. I know you're really happy about this card. You've talked about it. You know, I can't get you to shut up about this card, Josh. But let me ask you real quick, Josh. I do want to say one thing real quick. Now, we're used to like start o'clock, 6 o'clock at night. Have dinner, getting ready there. 8 o'clock. The prelims are almost done. The main card's at 8 o'clock. Now we have a special start time tomorrow, 1 o'clock. How do you prepare for that, Josh?
Well, start drinking early. I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about that. I usually start drinking an hour before every fight, so it's gonna be an early one.
Hey, well, you know what?
No,
You're going to have a couple at noon, right? You're going to be drinking at noon then, man.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I ain't got a
Gotcha,
problem with
gotcha, gotcha. Josh, you got a comment right here. Josh to Justin
it.
Bieber
Justin
Gordon.
Bieber, Gordon.
Oh,
Yeah,
man. I never seen the resemblance until that comment just came in there. Austin, thank you, man. I appreciate that because I think we've just coined Josh the nickname,
yeah.
a.k.a. Justin Bieber, man.
There we go. That works. It's a good one.
There we go. So yeah, I mean, tomorrow, noon comes around. You got to get everything done. You already dipped into the cooler here. Got a
Mhm.
couple in you. Uh, I want you to talk about one of the prelim fights here, Josh, going in tomorrow night. I mean, you picked it this week. I want you to get into it. Lead me into this. Your fight, prelim fight of the week.
Well, I figured we talk about the Mick Parkin fight.
Okay.
Um, just because it's very similar to the last fight that I was talking about. That was heavyweight between Curtis Blades and that I forget that up and comer's name.
Oh,
Well,
goodness.
this is just another weird one.
Mhm.
Marcin Tybura, he's 26-9 at the moment, and he's fighting a guy who's 10-0, who is currently ranked as number 13 in the heavyweight,
Okay.
which I think is very weird, considering he's just 10-0, which shows the heavyweight roster is the most lacking roster in
Yeah.
the UFC at the moment. I don't know. It's a very interesting fight that Marcin Tybura is fighting. Such a I don't even know how this guy's ranked. I mean, granted he is undefeated, but it's going to be a very big test for him because Marcin Tybura has fought dudes like Tom Aspinall, Taito Avasa, Alexander Volkov, Sergey
Mhm.
Spivak. You know, he's been in there. It's another situation where you have a veteran heavyweight fighting one of these upcoming guys because there's just not a lot of mass in the heavyweight
Right.
division. I don't know. It's very and the odds even like Mick Parkin, he's a plus 114 underdog at the moment, which I think is bananas. Considering that Marcin Tybura is only a minus 135. I mean, bet the house on Marcin Tybura if those are the odds. This guy,
Wow.
like I said,
Okay.
he's stepped in the cage. You know, over 30 times now over when this guy he's had 10 professional fights. This is coming up to his 11th.
Right.
I just think Marcin Tybura, he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy fighting a kickboxing guy,
Hmm.
so hopefully Mick Parkin did his research and has been practicing during his camp and everything for this guy. But I think Marcin Tybura is just going to run through him. I think he's going to take him down. I think he's going to hold him there. He might try and submit him, ground and pound him like heavyweights do. And I don't know. I see this fight going the distance like most heavyweights do. They're probably going to be out of breath, swinging for it in the third round. And yeah, what do you think? Have you done any? What do you think about this
I mean,
fight?
you said the best. It's 10-0 versus 26-9. The guy's been around. Tybur's been around. He's a journeyman really in
Well,
35 fights here. But my thing is, you look at his past record. Okay, he's 2-2 in his last four fights. And yes, I get it. Aspinall, I get that. Spivak, he's fought the big guys. Those two big losses.
yeah,
But the thing is, Josh, he hasn't been past the second round basically. Does he have enough gas to go 4 rounds? Three of his fights, Josh, were first round subs, win or lose. Does
yeah,
he have the cardio to get that far? Because the heavyweights, we know they're going to be gassed, but this guy
yeah.
really doesn't come out of the first round, Josh.
Uh, I don't know, man. I don't know. These guys, Marcin Tybura, he's up there.
Mhm.
Can't hang after the first round. That
That's
is,
that's my, that's my
yeah,
point right there. That's what I mean. I mean, his gas tank is going to be okay. His last four fights, really first round fights, either win or loss, subs, TKO. I don't know, Josh. I mean, when you're that big, cardio goes a long way. And man, I know it's not a 5 round fight, Josh. It's three, but
yeah.
that 15 minutes, man, will gas some big dudes out quick.
4 out of the last 5 of Mick Parkin's fight have gone to decision.
Hmm.
Um, he is coming up, but I don't know. I see this fight going to a decision. I don't see it
Okay.
finishing. I don't see Marcin Tybura getting a submission. I don't see that happening for this one. I think Mick Parkin, he's 10-0, undefeated. I think he's going to come in well rounded, and I think he's going to push Marcin Tybura into those later rounds. I
Little deep
really
into
think.
deep water. So you think he's going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
take
I
him into
think it's
deep
going to
water?
take him
Okay.
to the deep waters. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
Marcin Tybura not leaving the first round. I think this is the one fight that we get to see it happen.
Okay. Okay. So are you saying to me that more experience here? I mean, camp wise, he's going to do the cardio. He's going to go to the deep waters. He's going to
Yeah,
progress.
yeah.
You,
I
you think
mean,
that's what it's going to be? Okay.
this guy has over 30 fights in the UFC. Even though he
Right.
hasn't been out of the first round, doesn't mean he can't handle it.
Oh, true. True.
Um, these guys, when you're at that top of the game, he's in the top 10 ranked division for the heavyweight. When you're up there in the UFC,
Hmm.
you got to be prepared for that. You got to be prepared to go those 15 minutes and give it your all. And we
Agree.
don't see that a lot from heavyweights, but
Right.
I think we'll see it in this heavyweight fight.
Okay.
I stutter. I bet money on Tybura that he'll get the fight in decision.
All right. So you got Tybura there. Okay, that's going to be
Oh, yeah.
you. I'm going to circle you there because last week you went 4-5. I went 3-5. Fucking Chama train killed my ass, man.
Yeah.
Chama train. But yeah. All right. You know what? I'm going to go out of the box here, man. I'm taking Park in here, man.
You're gonna take the underdog
I'm
for
going
it.
to
Why
take
are
the.
you taking Parkin? Is it because he's
Hey,
undefeated?
no, you know what? Tybura, man, I think he did the word deep water to me. I think he's going to be taken to another level. I understand it's 3 rounds, Josh,
Mhm.
but to me, I think Parkin is just at 10-0, like you said. He's ranked at 13, Josh. He has everything to gain, nothing to lose right here. He's a
Yeah.
high ranked at 13. This is his shot to be elevated to the top 10, going 11-0. Then he has every recommendation to move up faster, get another fight. Maybe he goes after a Aspinall or some, one of these big dudes out there. We don't know who he's going to get, but I think this is a huge stepping stone for him. So I'm going to take the dog here. I'm going to
Mhm.
go. I'm going to go split decision with the dog, man. I'm going
Okay,
to go
so you,
split with
you
the dog.
take Mick Parkin by decision. So you
Yeah,
think this fight is going to go to the decision?
I do. I do. I think it's
Okay.
going to go distance. I don't think it's going to be unanimous either way. I think it's going to be a split. 2-1, of course. But I'm going to go with the dog here. I'm going to take the dog. So right off the bat, we're disagreeing, brother. We're
That's
disagreeing, man.
fair enough. No, no, hey, listen, that's fine.
Yep. Real quick, we got a comment. Larry Berg checks in. What's going on, Larry? He's one of our hosts of 2 shows, actually. The Atomic Drop tomorrow night at 9 p.m. and Part-Time Marks. If you're a big wrestling fan, make sure you check him out every Tuesday night at 10:30, talking WWE, NXT, as well as WWE on Saturday night. So, Larry, thanks for checking in, brother. Appreciate that. And Josh, before we get to the next fight, we do have a question from the man that's already coined you as Justin Bieber out there. He
Yeah.
wants to know this. Okay. What would your fighting names be? Josh, the Animal Gordon. What would you be, Josh, if you were a
Oh
UFC
man.
fighter? What would you be, man?
Uh,
I got
well,
a, I got a comedy one, man. I got a comedy one for myself, bro.
probably the Juggernaut because I choose that in the actual. So it's funny because in the UFC game you can actually choose that. So one thing
Okay.
that I've picked many times is Juggernaut for that. So I'd be probably Josh Juggernaut Gordon. But what about you, man?
Mine would be just comical, man, because, even if I was back in my heyday, I couldn't last with these dudes, man. I'd get my ass kicked in the first fucking 2 minutes of a fight. I'd be tapping myself out, bro. I would probably poke myself in the eye and say, I'm done. I quit.
Yeah.
But being Asian, I've always, like, everybody jokes around with me and says, you got nice skin. So I would probably be Paul the Asian Persuasion Spencer.
Paul the Asian Persuasion.
Yeah,
That's
something like
that's
that, man.
pretty
I
good.
can't be Juggernaut like that.
There we
That's just
go.
not me. That's just not me. Or you know what? Maybe I'd be like the ninja or some shit like that. But once I get in the ring, I'm not a ninja, so
Yeah.
that ain't gonna fly with me. Michael Papernick checks in, one of our good hosts followers out there. Mike, what's going on, brother? And he says, "What's up, Larry?" We got a little comment back and forth to the crowd here. But all right, so we disagree on the first fight here, Josh. We're definitely going to disagree there, which I like that because I'm going to take the dog. I'm at what? I'm a plus 114, right? All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
so
you're at
there we go.
plus
I'm a plus
114. That's
114.
where he stands at
I'm
the
a plus
moment.
114. I'm a plus 114. I kind of like that right off the jump, man. Right off the jump. Well, let's get into the main card here, Josh. How about we talk about this one here? Nathaniel Ward, Bergen Morgan. How do you feel about this one here?
Um, this
20-6
one
versus
might
20-10.
be. I mean, I could be very wrong. I see this being a very boring featherweight fight. I mean, you have Nathaniel Wood, who's 20-6, and you have him fighting. I'm probably going to butcher this name, Morgan Chariri. I'm gonna
Yeah,
call
I
him
know these
Chariri.
names. These
I
names,
mean, it
man.
sounds stupid, but we're gonna call it Chariri. But I don't know. Yeah, Nathan Wood, back in the day, he was a bantamweight and he moved
Yeah.
up because he was like losing a bunch, and he's had like an on-off career as a
Hmm.
featherweight since he started. Um, but he won 4 fights in the row by submission back in the day in the UFC. I mean, this guy means business. I mean, he's 20
Hmm.
and 6.
Hmm.
But and he's finding another guy, who's coming from Bellator. Morgan Chariri is from Bellator. He
Hmm.
went on a 4-fight win streak, and then he lost to Manuel Torres. He's coming off of a submission win. Morgan Chariri is from American Top Team,
Okay.
so we'll see what happens with that. But Nathaniel Wood, I think he's the English fighter. Nathaniel Wood is actually a underdog. He's sitting at 160 at the moment.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that.
I honestly would take Nathaniel Wood on this fight. Even though he's the underdog, I
Mhm.
see him coming on top of this one. And I don't know. Featherweight, that's one of those divisions where, they got the pillow punches, they go into deep rounds, they clinch, you don't see too many exciting I mean, every once in a while you will see one, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with this one, but I'm going with Nathaniel Wood for a decision with this. What about yourself?
I kind of agree with you because I think this does go the distance as well. It goes 3 rounds here. With Wood, he's been the distance his last 8 fights.
Yeah.
Regardless of win or loss. Well, the one loss there was against Namibov. I think it was saying his name wrong. He lost against him in a decision too, a unanimous decision. But 8 fights straight going the distance here. Thierry, I don't know much about him. I'll be honest with you. You said where he's from, but
Cherry, that's how you say it,
Cherry,
Cherry.
I have to. I just said it because
That sounds
I
better
have
than
no idea.
Chariri. I don't know.
Chariri, we'll call him Chariri, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah,
Prove that you're the fighter, then we'll say your name correctly. You know what I
there
mean?
you go.
But are you worried about the fighters that he's fought? I mean, he's fought Miranda. He's fought Marcel, and he's fought these no-name guys moving into the UFC. How do you feel? Because I know Nathaniel Wood. I know what he's about.
Yeah,
But once again, you're fighting, a name guy versus an up and coming guy from another ranking, or another
another. Yeah,
exactly, yeah, like another dojo,
Bellator.
basically,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, do
Um,
you take consideration of that or no?
yeah. No, you have to definitely take consideration of it. UFC is considered, the best of the best. They're
Right.
they're the top tier of everything, and guys coming over from Bellator, they have to realize that these guys are different fighters, and I think that
Yeah.
and Morgan Charrier has been in the UFC for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Bellator has been around for a while, but he is experienced. He does have over 30 fights. He has
Mhm.
more fights than Nathaniel Wood. He's been in
Yeah.
the cage more often. He's older. Um, yeah, no, you definitely have to take that into consideration coming from another division.
Mhm.
Uh, but still, I don't think it's a problem. I know he's the favorite at the moment, but I think Nathaniel Wood can take it, and I think he's going to smother him, and I think he's going to outstrike him, and I think he's going to get the win. I think that fight's going to go to decision, but I could be very, very, very wrong.
Okay. On this one here, I'm going to go Wood as well. I'm going to go decision as well. It's going to be. Maybe you think this is going to be a unanimous, or you're going to go split here, just to take it to another level.
Um, I bet you it'll be unanimous. I bet
Wow.
you
Okay.
have all 3 rounds. Pardon
Okay.
me, just because Nathaniel Woods, he's a dog, man.
Okay.
Even though he has that win loss ratio, he's still like I've seen him fight a couple times on a couple of cards, and I think he could push through on this one and come
Mhm.
out on top.
A couple of weeks ago, you used that word, crotch sniffing. Basically, these
Yeah.
featherweights here, they're going to go all out. It's going to be striking like crazy.
Oh
Are
yeah, they
we?
do
Are
everything usually.
Yeah.
They're so small and
Mhm.
can do just about
Are
anything.
we in for a 15-minute, all don't take your eyes kind of match here, or are we going to see, first
Honestly,
round feeling out?
I see most of the fights tomorrow night going to decision just because of the weights that are fighting, just because of
Yeah.
the people that are fighting.
Mhm.
Most of the people on that card have decision wins,
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
everything. So, yeah, I see a good bit of these fights going to decision tomorrow.
I mean, well, this fight here, I mean, you have Wood going the last 8 fights going the distance here, regardless of
Yeah.
win or loss record there. But Cherrier really hasn't been out of the second round if you think about it. Well, he did one time. He went to a split decision. Okay, his loss, he went to split decision. But
Yeah.
his other wins are a second round TKO, a first round TKO, and a third round TKO. I mean, we know he goes the distance, but do you think being who he is, do you think he overstrikes, or do you think he just basically feels the fight
Yeah,
out
I
to get
mean,
the fight, to get the win?
yeah. So you think like because this guy hasn't been out of those rounds, like he could tire himself? Like, are you trying to say something like that,
Well, no, you
or
know what I'm thinking? What I'm thinking is, he has 3 TKOs in his last 4 fights, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I feel that, you know what? He's not gonna knock out Nathaniel Wood. He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna knock him out. He can go the distance. He's shown that. But my thing is, do you think it's more mentality thing where, hey, I'm striking this guy. I can't get him off his feet. I got to go the distance. Maybe, you know what? I can strike with him, but maybe I got to get him down on the mat and get some ground time on the mat to take those judges to my end and say, hey, I got, 2 minutes and 31 seconds. You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds
yeah.
of ground time. Because,
Well,
Josh, we've seen that shit before, man, where
yeah,
ground time wins matches.
and he is coming off of a submission win. His last fight, his last bout, he won by submission. So,
Against Miranda,
I
right?
mean, we'll
Miranda.
see. We'll see who's got the better IQ.
Yeah.
Like it all
Mhm.
comes down to the IQ of both of these guys. Who can
Agreed.
outstrike who can get the most control time, who can get, you know what I mean? I think with these guys, the amount of fights that they have together, they almost have 60 fights put together, just the
Yeah,
two of them.
you're right.
So I think this fight comes to a battle of IQ.
Okay. I got you there. That's good. We got one comment real quick talking about some names out there. Mike Paprick said he would be Polish
Polish
Power
Power
Mike
Mike.
Mike
That's pretty
Polish
good.
Power Papernick Jr. There you go. Wow, man. I hope you can put
Polish
that power
Power
in the
Mike.
ring, man. I mean, you get knocked out, they're going to be calling you something different. But hey, Eddie checking in. Eddie was one of our good followers out there. Eddie, what's going on? Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, I know a lot of these guys really don't watch UFC. They're just followers and they're great people to follow us. We appreciate everything out there. As we always say, share, tell a friend, about it. If you don't like it, tell a friend anyway, because you never know who likes UFC. Because shit, I love it. A lot of people don't like it, Josh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
Trust me, I
something.
feel you.
Yeah, it's just something you have to like in your life, man. It's just like to me, I can't. I have to have it.
Yeah, I'm the
All right.
only guy at my job right now who's like into this sport. So I'm like the redheaded stepchild to everybody. I'm like always talking about, did you see the fights on Saturday? They're awesome. And everybody's just like, no, man, we have lives. We got stuff we got to do on Saturday evening. So
Josh, it's funny. That's how we met. You were doing work in my house when my house was being reconstructed, and we just talked about it. And everybody else is like, "What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you
yeah,
guys talking about?"
yeah,
Saturday night, I got better things to do. Well, Saturday night, 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the
yeah. I'm
morning.
busy.
This is where I'm at. I'm busy. Don't call me. I don't call me. So yeah. All right. So we agree on that one there. You got unanimous. I got split. All right. So that one's fine. How about we move on to this one here? I'll let you take this one, Josh. Which way are you going here? Junior Bizanti versus Chris Duncan. How do you feel? 13 and equal. I mean, equal, Josh. 13-3, 12-2 here. Which way are you going with this?
So these odds, so Jordan Vucenic, he's sitting at -135. These are the type of odds that you think would be in the Mick Parkin fight
Yes.
versus Marcin Tybura. These odds
Mhm.
you would think would be on that kind of fight.
Right.
But they're Jordan Vucenic, which is that big tattooed lightweight.
Yeah.
He's
Mhm.
he's a -35 right now. But who I think is going to win this fight is
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Chris Duncan. I think Chris Duncan's going to take it because I don't know, man. I don't know. He is a major underdog, but
Yeah.
the reason why I have to go for him is because he's a Scottish fighter, and that's in my blood. So that's completely biased. Do not take that into consideration. I'm completely going for Chris Duncan out of pure biasism. So, but no, Jordan Vucenic, he's a crazy BJJ fighter.
Yeah.
He went on a crazy winning streak, like submitting just people after people after people just submitting him. I think he's coming off of a submission win was his last fight as well.
His last three, he has two a sub, and the third one was a Chimera that he had. He's a specialist, Josh. He's a
Yeah,
specialist.
he is a specialist, but I don't know, man. He is rated as an underdog. He is, the English fighter. There's a lot of English fighter on this card, but
Mhm.
yeah, no, I
Hmm.
this one is just kind of one of those throwaways for me where you know what? I don't care about the stats. I don't care about who these fighters are. It's too close to call it 13
Yeah,
3, 12-2.
yeah.
I'm just going to go with my blood. I'm just going to put it on the Scottish man, Chris Duncan. Win or lose, I'm just going to put it all on him, man. It's going to be an
Okay.
entertaining bout. I think it's going to be a ground fest. I think Jordan Vucenics is going to try to get him down the ground, trying to look for that and search for that submission.
Okay.
Hopefully, Chris Duncan can do what he can to get out of it or prevent it. But I'm going to go with Chris Duncan on this. How do you see this fight going, Paul?
You know what? To me, just like you said, it's a pick'em fight to me. It's a pick'em
Yeah,
fight. They're pretty well, versatile. Both fighters here, 13-3, 12-2. It's a pick'em fight to me, but man, I got to go with here, Jordan here, because of the fact his last 8 fights, 6 submissions. Okay, his only 2 losses went to decision on his losses. So
mm-hmm.
I think he's going to try to get. He's a specialist, man. He's a sniper out there. He's
Yeah,
going to look for those moves. And Chris Duncan, he's the same way, man. I mean, he's a submission artist too. I mean, this could be like you make one fucking mistake on the mat, you're done. You turn
yeah,
the wrong way. You might be locked up in a Kimura. You might get a rear naked choke. You might get tapped out very fast there. But man, you know what? The way I've seen Jordan, I mean, he's coming off a loss though. But my thing is the way he fought the last 3 fights, man. First round subs, the Chimera was out of nowhere. I remember watching that fight, but I got to go Jordan here, man. I mean, I'm not going to go Duncan, even though I'm not Scottish. I'm Asian. But the last
yeah,
time I fucking picked an Asian fighter, remember he got fucked up
yeah.
for
It,
3 rounds. You remember that shit? So don't go with your blood here, brother. Okay? Because
nah,
I got
man.
fucked up on that fight.
I got to go with it for this one. I honestly don't know these fighters too well. They haven't. I haven't seen too much of them. I haven't seen too many highlights. I haven't seen.
Mm,
They're still up and coming. They're still trying to work their way up. They're in the lightweight division, the most stacked division of the
yes,
UFC.
it definitely is.
Um,
It is.
I think this will be one of the more exciting fights. Especially for people who like to watch grappling and
Mhm.
jujitsu exchanges. I think this will be more entertaining than that featherweight fight before it.
Okay. Are we going to go the distance here?
Oh,
I mean, these dudes, man, to me,
I don't
Josh,
know because these guys rarely go the distance.
that's what I mean.
Um,
It's a tap out either way, Josh.
I
I think it's a decision because you got 2 specialists here that know how can basically you're fighting a mirror image of yourself on the mat. They're
yeah,
going to look for that. They're going to look for the submission. Like I said, one wrong move, you're fucked. But
yeah.
my thing is,
I'm gonna agree with you. I don't see this one going to a decision. I mean, it may, but yeah, if I'm gonna be confident on a pick, it's probably gonna be a submission.
okay, so you got Dunk with the submission, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
Okay,
go
so
with the underdog. I
oh,
think he's the biggest upset
yeah.
so far of the card. Yeah, plus
Whoa,
325. So yeah, I think he's the biggest upset on that card so far.
damn,
Yeah, the
325, huh?
biggest underdog. Yeah.
Damn, I was trying to make some money with the plus 114 earlier. You got a plus three
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
man.
On Big
I'm
Part.
gonna take it to
Yeah.
another level. What kind of submission are we looking at here? Rear naked choke, guillotine.
Um.
What are we
I,
looking at?
well, something from if it's Chris Duncan, probably something from the bottom. I
Okay.
see. He's probably going to get dominated. He's probably going to get taken down because he is the smaller guy going
Mhm.
into the fight. So if he does pull out a submission from his ass, it's probably going to be from the bottom position. So I'll probably go with something like I don't know. Triangle, Kimura,
Okay.
something like that. Maybe
Okay.
guillotine on a takedown. I don't know.
Okay.
It's
So
just
you
I
got
think
something
it's
with the
going to be
arm
so
involved. You got something with the arm involved here, huh?
yeah, something with the
Okay.
arm.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. They're both such high level. It's going to be very hard. I'm sure Jordan's not going to sit there and give him a lot of openings.
Agree. Agree.
It's hard to say what kind of if your guy wins Jordan, what kind of submission you think he's going to go with?
It's got to be something with the arm as well. I mean, I
You think
think.
so?
I mean, he has
Something from
he has
top.
the size. He has the size. He can dominate this fight on the ground. But it's going to be trying the right point, the right time, define the move, But I think it's going to be an arm swing somewhere. It could be an arm bar, maybe, or arm triangle. I don't think he's going to. Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think it's going to be an arm bar or something like
I
that
think it's going to be
this
an
week.
armbar.
Yeah,
He's going to get some sort of submission. I
yeah.
got you.
And I know definitely it's not going to be in the first round. I don't think it's going to be a first round. It's going to be second and third though. Either when
Yeah.
it happens. All right, so you got Duncan. I'm going with Jordan here. Man, this is the first week we've disagreed 2 out of 3 off the jump here.
There you go.
Eileen checking in. What's going on, Eileen? Appreciate you checking in. Appreciate that. I got a couple comments here. Michael says his wife's second or third cousin is Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez. That's pretty cool.
Well, hey, you know what? Tag Eddie and let him know when next time we can talk about Eddie. And love to have him on the show there. Eddie says. Here's a question about those real quick. What style of UFC fighter do you guys prefer to watch? What do you like, Josh?
I like Muay Thai a bunch. I like Khalil Roundtree types.
Okay.
I'm really a big fan of Muay Thai. I think it's one of the most like devastating martial arts that you can, like the elbows and the knees and everything, the clinching, all of that. What about you, man? What's your favorite type of?
I like that too. I'm Asian, of course. I like the Muay Thai fighting. I'm into that. I like the long, lengthy fighters, man. I like the kicking. I like the elbows, like you said. I like this stuff because to me, you can win on the ground, but when you can stand up and utilize your arm, your hands, your elbows, your legs, it goes a long way to me. I love the Muay Thai fighting.
Yeah,
and last year, I had a Muay Thai fighter, Natalie Morgan, on my show last year. She actually fights in Thailand under the Muay Thai brand over there, and she was telling me how fucking vicious it is over there. Like, leg kicks over here don't even compare to what you feel over there and shit. So I agree. I like it.
Those guys over there have been kicking people in the shin since they were 2 years old. So
they fucking kick trees. They fucking kick trees, man. You know what I mean? For fun over there.
For fun.
Austin says karate. Karate there. Okay.
Karate. There you go. Karate, like MVP.
The Karate Kid and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Wonder Boy. There you go.
There you go. Wow, Connor and Wonder Boy. Yep.
Yeah, there you go, Connor and Wonder Boy.
What do you think about Silva?
Anderson Silva. Yeah, he was a very entertaining fighter. He was probably one of the GOATs. He went on that 14-fight win streak. I don't know. I kind of got into the UFC kind of after Silva.
Right.
I think I watched his fight against Adesanya, but Anderson the Spider Silva. He's one of the GOATs in the division.
There's another one about Bigfoot
or Anderson. Probably Anderson all day, man.
Yeah, I have to go with Anderson on that. If I'm picking between those two, it'd have to be Anderson.
Prime Anderson, 100%. Prime Anderson Silva.
Right. I agree with that one, 100%. All right, well, how about we go into this one here? Now, we do have a women's match, one women's match on the card here on the main card.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love Molly McCann.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this one here? How do you feel about this?
Well, Molly McCann, she actually has dropped in weight. She dropped to strawweight. She used to fight in the heavier division, but was just like outweighed by all these chicks. This is one of those fights where she's finally fighting someone who's smaller than her.
Yeah.
But the person she's fighting, Alexa, dude, she is a beast of a woman. She's like this like butch strawweight fighter who's just like got it, man. She's 11-1 right now. She's on a rampage. This is going to be a very hard fight for Molly McCann because Molly McCann, she has a 50% win-loss ratio at the moment in the UFC.
Josh, the biggest thing is 3 out of 4 losses in her last 4 fights here. 3 out of 4 losses.
That is huge. Even though I am a big fan of Molly, she she isn't considered one of the greatest of all times in the women's division. But no, I love her character, man. I love her personality. She's friends with Patty the Batty. They go to the same camp and everything. And
you and Patty the Batty, man.
yeah. Patty's cool, man. I like Patty. But I'm excited to see Meatball Molly again. She's had hard times in the UFC, but she at the same time she has good times. She has one of the only spinning fat back fists in the women's division.
And speaking of that, there's a comment right too. Will we see the spinning elbow from the Meatball?
Maybe if she doesn't get taken down and smothered, because that's one thing that Molly has. She's lost to submission so many times in the UFC, and if this chick is legit, this Alexa chick, if she's legit. she could easily take on Molly because Molly, she's low ranked in the division. She's win loss. She's at 50% for the win loss
Mhm.
ratio. But I don't know. As for winning the fight, again, this is personal bias. I'm not trying to make money. I want Molly McCann to win. I'm a big
Okay.
fan of her. I hope she wins. I hope she can hopefully submit Alexia or take it to the decision. If not, Alexia's probably just gonna beat the fuck out of her and ground and pound her or get her all bloodied up. Because I'm telling you, this woman's a beast. She's on that
Oh
8
yeah.
fight win streak right now.
Yeah.
She,
100%.
she has a very promising career in the UFC. But how do you see this fight going, man? Does this fight interest you at all? It's the only women's fight on the main card.
It does interest me because I like Molly McCann and I like watching her fight. But Josh, the biggest thing is 3 out of 4 losses here. Her
Yeah,
last win was a unanimous. Her last loss was a unanimous decision. Okay, but then you go to 3 of the 4 fights: a win in the first round, a loss in the first round sub, and then another loss versus Blanchfield in the first round too. She's been dominated at times, and more not times in the past she's been dominated. But
yeah,
this Alexa, man, god damn, you're talking about a woman that will beat your fucking ass. This is her. 11 and
yeah,
1, and she's not even really talked about, Josh. You think about it. This
yeah.
woman is dominant. She's
Yeah,
dominant.
no, she 11-1 coming in. You don't see that too much in the women's division. A lot of
Hmm.
times you see in the women's division like 16-6 or 15 and
Right.
4 or 20 and 18. You're like crazy odds and crazy win loss ratios. And this chick coming in, it's very rare to see an 8 fight win streak. You know,
Hmm.
um, I don't know. It's a very dangerous fight for Molly. Hopefully she can
Yeah.
push through, can take it to those deep rounds and
Mhm.
not get TKO'd or not get submitted. That she's gonna the Firefight's gonna kick in for her. She seems very locked in. She's the most lean she's ever been.
Mhm.
When they were doing the stare offs and everything, the stare downs, she was very locked in. And yeah, hopefully she could just pull it out of her ass, man. Hopefully she gets this dub and goes home. She is fighting on her home territory, so
Right.
hopefully
Right.
that helps some. She's won in England, and she's also lost in England, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Speaking of stare down, man, Chama had a fucking nice stare down during the conference too, and look what happened to him. He got
That
fucking
is
just beat the
true.
shit
That
out of.
is true. Yeah, but
So
he always has that stare. Whether
he
you,
does. He does.
yeah,
Yeah, he does with that. But man, I don't know. I think this is just a dominated match here. I think Alexia just beats the shit out of her. She's
yeah.
not even going to have a chance. I mean, do you see this going to this? I don't even see this. I don't even see this going to this.
I,
I
I
don't.
I'd
I don't.
hope it does because I just don't want to see Molly get her ass beat. I mean, but if I was a betting man, I'd put every dime on Alexia. But as a fan,
Mhm.
I want Molly to win.
Okay. Okay. What's the odds on this, Josh? Do you have them in front of you?
No, they weren't posted.
They were okay.
I couldn't
Let's try
find them.
as we speak. Let me
Well,
look.
so Molly, I think was supposed to fight somebody else, and I think that's why
Yes. Yes.
she was supposed to fight Estela Nunez. So
Okay.
actually,
Here, I got
Alexa,
the updated. I got the updated odds for you. Okay.
do you? Okay, what are
Yep.
they?
All right. Marlon McCann's a plus 205.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah,
And Alexis a minus 250 here. Now the
yeah.
over and under is over 2 rounds plus 215.
Ooh,
Now
that's
that's
crazy. You
intriguing
don't
right
see
there
that
for
too
Molly.
often in
That's
women's division.
intriguing. A plus 215 to get out the second round for Molly
Yeah,
McCann. They're
that's
saying this is quick.
crazy.
They're saying this is quick. That Alexa comes down, beats the shit out of her,
Oh, that's
hands it
disrespectful.
down to her, gets the hand raised up in the second round.
That's
Damn,
crazy.
that's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane. Yeah. Wow.
Uh,
Damn.
yeah.
You know, I,
I forgot. But yeah, the Alexis coming in on short notice. Molly
yeah.
McCann was supposed to fight Estela Nunez, and then that fight caught off. Which,
Mhm.
honestly, I think Molly McCann has a better chance against Estela Nunez than she does Alexia
I
Tanera.
agree. I agree. I mean,
But yeah,
I'm gonna go Alexa here with the win, of course. If playing straight money, I'm gonna go Alexa
yeah, playing
dominating win
money, I
here.
would too.
But you know what, Josh? I might throw a couple dollars on that Molly McCann in the last 2.5 rounds, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
plus,
fuck,
plus
throw a
200
fuck
money,
at it.
plus 200 money.
Never
I
know.
mean, even though she hasn't been out of the first round in quite a long time, except for that unanimous decision, but she does know how to fight, man. She's really at 14 and 7, basically 500. She is a veteran, you know what I mean, versus
Mhm.
11 and 1 up and coming, fighter here. But if Alexa wins this, shots, how far do you see her moving up? going 12-1, beating a Molly McCann here, who's really considered a veteran too, if you think about it.
Yeah, yeah, she'd probably move up, probably fight some names out there.
Mm-hmm.
Molly McCann to me is a name. Um, yeah. If she wins this Molly McCann fight, all it does is just increase her win streak to 9 fights, and she still is new to the UFC, even though she does have that fight win streak. She still does have to
Right.
prove herself.
Mm-hmm.
She might get a ranked opponent after this. Molly is unranked.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. If Alexa wins this fight, she'll probably get a ranked opponent. Maybe he's top 15, top 10. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with her career.
Yeah, a lot of times this goes to how dominating you're going to be in your match here. You're going against someone. A win is a win, but we want to see you dominate for an upcoming fight.
Yeah.
I think she does jump in the top 15. She might get that, 8 to 10 guy, 8 to 10 female out there in the rankings. But the way she looks right now, man, the future's bright for this chick. She's just kicking ass, coming off her win streak. She's just dominating, Josh. So we both agree here, Alexa for the win here, of course, even though, your heart says Molly McCann. I like to see it as well. But Josh, just don't be heartbroken, heartbroken after this fight, brother. That's all I'm
Oh
gonna say.
yeah. Well, Molly McCann, with that losing streak, if she does lose this fight and maybe fights on a she may not be on the UFC roster anymore. So that is something that Molly has to think about
Yeah.
and maybe give her that mental advantage in there. I
But
don't know,
Josh,
but
that,
we'll
that
just
hasn't
see.
worked out. That hasn't worked out in the past for some fighters that we talked about in the last couple of weeks here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Bobby Green. Bobby Green, he just
Yes,
got kicked off. He's
yes,
not on the
yes,
UFC roster anymore. And Molly McCann might be in those same shoes. If she
yeah.
doesn't pull it out of her ass, she could be one of those fighters not on the roster no more. But then again, we do have that Angela Hill. Angela Hill's like
Mhm.
20-17 or 28. She's like got some sort of stupid win-loss ratio. So
Yeah, yeah.
Molly McCann could be one of those Angela Hill types. Well, fuck it. Even though she's losing, she's still an entertaining strawweight, and we'll keep her on there. But I will just see. We'll see. After tomorrow.
You know what? You do need you need roster fillers, is what I want to call them too. You do need those people in the UFC. Just like you said, she is a ticket draw, man. A lot of people love that name. They're going to come see her fight, regardless of what her record is.
Oh yeah.
If she loses here, you're 14-8, man. You're barely above 5. You think about it. But
Yeah.
do you think maybe, Josh, if she gets fucking dominated here, do you see maybe the gloves in the middle of the ring? Maybe. What do you think?
Well, she's young. I mean, how old is Molly McCann? Do we have that right
I
now?
don't even have it up front. No, I don't
You
have it
don't
in
have
front
it
of me.
up front.
No.
I don't know. She can't be too old. I don't see her hanging it up anytime soon. I think the only way to get her out of the UFC is if they kick her off for having too many to having too big of a losing streak.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we just don't want to see 4 out of the 5. We're at 3 out of the 4 now here. We don't want to see 4 out of the 5 for
No, we do not.
a name draw person there. But moving forward, we agree on that one there. We both go into Alexa here. But did you tell me how it's gonna is it gonna be a decision here? You think it's gonna decision?
So if I were to bet money, if I was a
Mhm.
betting man, I would go Alexa Tanara KO, TKO.
Hmm.
I don't see it going the distance, but yeah. If I was a betting man,
Okay.
I don't see this fight going the distance. I see Alexa taking it. I see her dominating Molly. I see her, coming up and performing her best, even though
Wow.
it is a short fight notice. Just Molly, but I want Molly to win. I want her to come out on top. I want that, with the theme for tomorrow is underdogs for me. So I want
Okay.
Molly to get that.
Well,
Get that
Josh, I'll
done.
tell you what, man. If you're right on that submission, TKO, whatever you want to call it, there, man, you're a plus 800 on Alexa, man, pro. A submission.
Really for a
Yeah.
for a submission.
A TKO or submission,
For
either
a
one.
TKO or submission.
Plus
That's not
800,
bad.
man. That's not bad, dude. If you think
No, it
about it.
isn't.
Now,
That's
Molly
crazy.
McCann.
Even though the third round is considered a plus 200,
Mhm.
that's plus 800 for a TKO, and then to go past 2 rounds is plus 200. That's crazy.
Now, Molly McCann's a plus 800 for a TKO, okay? For a
Okay,
submission, she's a plus 1600
1600.
for a
That's crazy
submission. For
for.
a
But
submission,
Molly
man.
McKenna has more submissions than she does. Okay,
That's what I
well,
mean. And
that's
these
crazy.
odds here, Vegas, man. See, they're teasing us right here because you think about, we watch it all the time. You're like, okay, she does submit. Why is it plus 1600 for a submission, plus 800 for a knockout? Man, I don't know, Josh. This is like, I think I'm just going to be smart, make a couple dollars here, and just go with the just the money line win for Alexa here. I'm just going to go
There,
there
yeah.
with that
So
one.
you're going to go Alexa like TKO or Alexa submission, or are you going to go Alexa decision?
I'm going to go decision here, man.
You can go for the decision
Yeah,
win.
I'm going to go here because man, I'm not going to say that name. Bobby Green, King Green, fuck King Green. I'm never going to say it like that again because he doesn't deserve that King title that he's being called. So I think Molly McCann a little bit different here. She could be on the way out. She can get the writing on the wall and the locker stamp there saying, "Meet me in my office. We got to talk about you exiting." I don't think she wants to go out that way, being 14-7. She
Yeah.
wants to be 15-7. I think if she does lose, it does go to decision. But this is one of the fights where Alexa, man, she's an animal, dude. It's man, God, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna take the money line here, but I'm gonna go decision if I was a betting person. I'll go decision. All right.
Very good.
So let's go to the co-main event here. Let's talk about Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. I know
Kevin
you're really
Holland.
hyped about this. I know you're hyped, dude. Talk to me.
I'm a
Talk to
huge
me.
Kevin Holland fan. I
I know
love
you are.
Kevin Holland, even though he has a win-loss career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of Kevin Holland. I like his personality. I like the way his fights. He has amazing highlights from
Mm-hmm.
his career, and he's not also one of the most active fighters I've ever
Right.
seen in the UFC. It's almost like every other month you see Kevin Holland on a card, whether it's pay-per-view, whether it's a fight night
Mm-hmm.
like this one. Kevin Holland's there to step in. He's one of the most active fighters. I think he has 8 fights in the past 2 years. That averages to 4 years. Or I'm sorry, 4 fights per year. My
Man,
bad.
we're giving so much credit to Chama out there, fucking 3
Yeah.
fights a year, and this guy's fighting 4. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
4 fights
Man,
for 8 fights in 2 years. That's crazy.
that's
And
insane.
Kevin Holland is actually the person that taught me the term gatekeeper.
Okay.
I remember him saying in an interview, he's like he knows he's not going for the belt anymore, but he still wants to stay on the roster. He still wants to stay ranked.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, just keep me here as a gatekeeper. I think he said that after he got that arm bar and broke that guy's arm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, he's coming off of a loss. I think he got rear naked choked, and people are
Was
counting
that
him
was
out.
against who was it? The Ritter or something? Wasn't it the
Yeah,
Ritter?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
against the Ritter. Yeah, he got choked out against the Ritter, and people are putting him out because of it, and he's an underdog for this one. But I'm going to take Kevin Holland on this fight. It's like the Molly McCann. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Kevin Holland, and I want to see him win. I want to see him stay in the UFC. He's a very entertaining fighter. I want him to win. Gunnar Nelson. He's been in the UFC for quite some time now. He's 19-5. He's
Mm-hmm.
fought a couple people. I was doing some research on him. He actually fought Leon Edwards in the
Yeah,
past.
it was actually a split decision that he lost.
Yeah, and he took Leon Edwards
Yeah.
to it. Well, Leon Edwards has a bunch of decision wins. He's not a very.
Oh
He's
yeah,
one
yeah.
of those. We'll get to that later. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I really want Kevin Holland to win, man. I'm a big fan of
Okay.
him. How do you see this fight going? Who do you think is going to win this one?
Before I give you my take on this fight, I just got to ask you a question here. You're the Molly McCann fan.
Yeah.
You want to see her win here. Kevin Holland, are we going with the heart here? Because Josh, we did not mention 4 of the last 5 fights he's lost. Josh, 4 of the last 5 he's lost.
I don't care.
And Josh, we're talking about a first round sub, okay? First round TKO, unanimous decision he lost, and another split decision. But the last 2 fights, he's been fucked up in the first round, Josh.
He is, yeah. He's been, but he's never been. Yeah, I don't know, man. He's yeah. I'm going with the heart, man. I don't give a fuck. Kevin Holland all day long. I don't care.
Okay. Man, I hope your pockets are as big as your heart, brother. Because if you're betting on these, heart picks, I don't know, but anything can happen.
Hey, listen. By no means, do not bet to my. Do not take what my bets. I'm literally going for I'm not going for money on this. I'm going for who I want to win personally. Okay, so if you're trying to make money, don't go off of.
Well, Larry, if you're listening out there, because remember last week he did say he's going to take your picks this week because you went 4 out of 5.
Oh no! This is a
man.
dumb picks.
All right, I'm going to go Gunnar Nelson here, man.
Go Gunnar Nelson.
I'm going to go Gunnar Nelson. I mean, he's fought the last 2 fights, first round sub. He went unanimous decision against Sato Takashi. Gilbert Burns unanimous decision loss. Leon Edwards split, which we know, he goes to distance for pretty much anybody. His wins, but I got to go Gunnar Nelson here because the way he's fighting, coming off a 4 out of 5 loss for Holland, I gotta go Nelson here. And the other thing is, how do you see this fight? Because Holland is a kung fu fighter, basically, in
Yeah,
regards,
and
correct? And then, Gunner's a little bit different here. But the one thing is, Gunner, I think, is trying to go for the takedown. His takedown ratio is 59% successful. You know, that's where I think he's going to try to take it on the ground. He's going to try to get Holland on the ground, try to get some ground pound. I think this goes this because I was looking at the odds here, Josh. This is kind of weird here. Okay,
yeah.
let's see. We got this is a pick'em fight, Josh. Gunnar Nelson's a little bit favorite, -118. Holland is a -102. This to me is Vegas don't know what the fuck they're talking about. We don't know how it's going to end. It's a pick'em fight, Josh. Nobody knows this fight right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, Kevin Holland, one thing about him is that he fluctuates between the middleweight and welterweight division.
Hmm.
So he's used to fighting guys bigger than him and the same size or smaller than him. So, uh, I don't know. I just see he's 26-13. He has more
Right.
fights than Gunnar Nelson.
Hmm.
And this is another one of those things where IQ is going to come to play. Kevin Holland has some highlight knockouts. He's had some highlight submissions.
Right.
He's a very well-rounded man.
Hmm.
And whether this fight is stand up or goes to the ground, I think Kevin Holland's experience
Okay.
holds above everything. I mean, this is just again, this is completely biased because I am a Kevin Holland fan. I really like him. Um, yeah, I think the way Kevin Holland fights, and because he fluctuates between weights, I think he has an advantage over Gunnar Nelson, not only in IQ
Hmm.
but in experience as well. Um, I mean, but the Vegas odds are basically saying, this fight can go either way, and
Yeah.
plus the current odds are +105. You said for Kevin Holland,
Yeah, we have. I was looking at it here. We have Gunnar Nelson's -118, and
118,
Holland's a -102. So it is.
102.
It is
Okay,
definitely a pick'em fight going into this
yeah,
fight here. It
yeah.
definitely
No,
is.
again, I'm going with my heart here. I'm going with Kevin Holland, man.
Okay.
I see this fight. It can go to the decision. I
Mhm.
do. I can see it going to decision. But if I'm going to pick Kevin Holland to win,
Okay.
I think he's going to get a knockout over Gunnar Nelson.
Wow.
Um, if Kevin Holland's going for that win, or he could get the decision there. Yeah, it's
Okay.
either a KO win or a decision win for Kevin Holland for me. What about you? If you're going with Gunnar Nelson here, how do you
Yeah,
think Gunnar Nelson's going to take this win? If you think he's going to win,
I think it's going to be a decision here. I think it's
you
going to
think
go
it's
the
going to be a
distance. I
decision?
definitely think it's going to go to decision. I can't see. I like how you're thinking there with Kevin Holland. How he's going to fight this, but I think Gunnar Nelson. I mean, even his last two fights, he's only been out of the first round. Well, third fight he was out of the round. Two last fights he went to decision here, but I think it's going to be a decision. I don't think it's going to be a unanimous. I'm going to give Holland one round. I mean, hell, he could win two, to get the fight. But I'm going to go Gunnar Nelson here, probably split decision. I
Hmm.
feel that's the way it's going to win here. But when
You
you
see him
mentioned,
going 3 rounds.
yeah, I got to go in the distance here. When you mentioned, let me see, Holland here. See, now this is what's weird here. You're not going to make any money if you go Kevin Holland TKO. That's a plus
Really?
115. That's it. That's only a plus 115.
That's crazy. Well, it just shows you like even though Kevin Holland is the underdog, he still
Right.
has that power. People still believe in him. People still believe that he's going to get that KO. That he still has that power. He still has that dog in him. To have that, even though it is an underdog for the KO
Hmm.
win, but to have those odds of a
Yeah.
KO, usually see you like plus 400 or plus 600, for like a KO
Hmm.
odds, but yeah, no, yeah, I agree. That's not a lot of money on a KO win for Kevin Holland, and that's
Yeah.
that's why I pick it. I think like if he pulls it out of his ass,
Hmm.
it's gonna be he's gonna knock the guy out.
Yeah. They're pretty much saying this is going to go the distance here because they're saying right here on this betting right here is one of the prop bets. Gunnar Nelson to win by decision or Kevin Holland to win by or TKO or here. I'm sorry. If it goes the distance, it's only going to be it's a plus 220 to go the distance. Or I'm sorry, no, plus 100 to go the distance. What do you think? I mean, I think it's going to go the distance here at plus 100 though.
Plus 100 go to that's low odds too. That's actually
That's what I
very
mean.
low odds for that. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's
this really isn't a
50-50.
pick. This is a pick 'em fight, so it's not going to be
It
that
is.
high at
Yeah,
all.
it's a very pick 'em fight.
Mhm.
That's just where I'm gonna put it, man. Pick 'em fight.
Okay. All right. So you're going with the heart. You're going to go Kevin Holland here. I'm going to disagree. I'm
Yeah.
going to go Gunnar Nelson here. You know, I mean, honestly, Josh, this card to me is not going to be a money making card either way for me. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of pick 'em fights. It can go either way on these fighters here. Some coming off of a short notice, just like with Alexia there. But the Alexia fight's a little bit more dominating to me the way she is. But then again, Molly McCann's a vet, in our eyes. So it could go either way. This is a pick 'em fight to me. I'm just going to go Gunnar Nelson here. So, man, this is the most we've ever disagreed on a show, Josh.
Yeah, good,
Definitely is.
man. That's
It
why
is.
it's so
All right,
fun.
well, let's talk about this fight here, the co-main event here. Let's talk about this. I know you're a big fan of this one too, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. Now, Paul, before we go into
Mhm.
this fight here, I know we have other shows coming up, on this
You know what,
platform. So
Josh? Yeah, you are definitely right, man. So you know what? How about we talk about some of those shows out there, guys? Listen, if you're a fan of the network or any fan of any kind of sports, out there, we have shows for everybody. Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. This is our weekly live schedule here. All the way up until Sunday night. We have on Monday we have the Sully Squad. If you're a 4-4 Philadelphia fan, they got you covered. Eagles, Flyers, Phillies. Sixers. Well, you don't really talk about the Sixers because they suck that bad. But then, give them a holler out there. Tuesday, we have the Silver and Black Kings edition for all you Kings NHL fans. And then also the part-time marks. They talk about NXT, WWE every Tuesday at 10:30. And Wednesday nights, it's the morning, I'm sorry, the Bat Cave. That's Ken Fry once again talking about his New York Mets MLB team. Wednesday night, we have the Cowboys Weekly with myself and Dave, all about the Cowboys. Thursday night, we have an NFL Weekly Talk, myself and Dan. We go all around the NFL. We talk about everything there. This week, next week, we're actually going to go to the AFC North. So if you're a fan of the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens, and also the damn Browns, give them a holler. Give us a watch. Of course, you already know. Silver and Black, every 9 a.m. every Friday, and of course, Friday night, 7 p.m. with myself and Josh inside the Octagon. We round out the week tomorrow night, 9 p.m. The Atomic Drop, talking WWE. And coming soon, it's the Big Blue Power right after this show. He's going to be live around 8:15, 8:30ish. As soon as we get off here, he's going to hop on. So if you're out there and you want to start your own show, reach out to me. If you're a friend of Josh, you want to do this, reach out to Josh. Anybody out there, we'll get you started. We don't charge you. We just want to talk sports and have fun, shoot the shit, disagree, have fun doing it. So make sure you follow Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, live streaming 7 days a week. All streams are sponsored by our sponsor, Jason Fine. And speaking of Jay Fine, here he is, 1-800-HURT-123, Attorney Big Al, a.k.a. the man. Motor vehicle accident, slip and fall, workman's comp, personal injury claims, 3 convenient locations out Pennsylvania and New Jersey. First in Pennsylvania, it's Philadelphia, PA, 1628 JFK Boulevard. And our neck of the woods up here in the 814 or what is it, 728, Josh? Some people up here?
Yep,
There we go.
728.
Here we go. 500 Grand Street. Make sure you reach out to him. And then also in New Jersey, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 3 Greensboro Lane. Mention Out of the Box Sports Entertainment for all your legal needs. And guess what? No recovery, no fee. And here's the biggest thing out there. It's not 50. It's not 45. It's not 40. It's not even 35. It is 33 and a third % rate for all the viewers of Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. So make sure you reach out to Jay Fine, Attorney Big Al, for all your legal needs. There we go, Josh. We have an action-packed lineup here, Josh. I'll tell you that, man. This network is really good. I love everybody on this network. It's all about passion, having fun. And it's
Yes, sir.
and the biggest thing is, Josh, it's all opinionated, man. My opinion doesn't mean shit to other people, but it's my opinion,
Yeah,
your opinion. I love talking to you about this
fucking
shit.
right.
But let's get into this here. Co-main event here. Take it
Yeah,
away, Josh.
Jan
Take it away.
Blachowicz, man. Dude.
You're a fan. You're a fan. You're a fan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Jan Blachowicz, he's one of the oldest fighters in the,
Yeah.
light heavyweight division. He's
Mhm.
42 now.
Wow.
And he's an underdog. He's
Yeah.
from when I was
Mhm.
looking to my score, he's plus 185, and Carl Solberg is a favorite at minus
Well, no,
255.
that's
Has
changed
that
now. That's
changed
changed.
now?
That's changed
Okay.
now. What did you have, Jan? What was your
So
Jan?
so so when I did it,
Okay.
John was at plus 185. Was he now?
Well, now he's a plus 235.
Oh wow! So he's even bigger of an
Yeah.
underdog. Well, the thing about Jan, man, is that we've seen him here before.
Mhm.
We've seen him as the underdog because people count him
Yeah.
out because of his age. But one thing you can't forget about age is Glover Teixeira's career. He won the light heavyweight belt
Mhm.
at 40 years old.
Right.
So, and not only that, but Jan Blachowicz, dude, his resume, Alex Pereira,
Yeah.
Jared Cannonier, Luke Rockhold, Dominic Reyes, Israel Adesanya, Magomed Ankalaev.
Mhm.
He's fought every fucking buddy that you can think of
Yeah.
in between the middleweight and light heavyweight division. And you're throwing Carlos Ulberg at him.
Yeah.
who has worked his way up. He's on a 7-fight win streak right now. He's a
Mhm.
very lean, very tough, light heavyweight fighter. But we have seen him struggle with those, that 7-fight win streak. It's
Right.
not like he dominated all seven of those fights. So this is his biggest challenge yet is Jan
Agreed.
Blachowicz. And maybe I could be wrong. Maybe age has caught up to Jan. Maybe, that 29-10, almost 40 fights here.
Mhm.
Maybe it's going to catch up to him. Maybe Jan, is in, close to retirement, but we just can't forget about him. We can't forget who Jan is. We can't forget he's been the underdog in more fights
Agreed.
than he's fought in. Yeah, just Carlos Ulberg. He is younger. He's like, again, 7-fight win streak, young up and comer. He had a very close fight with Ozedemir, though. His last fight
Oh yeah.
was with Ozedemir. He was another ranked guy.
Mhm.
It was a very close fight. It was not unanimous, but he did come to
Agreed.
decision. And Carlos Ulberg, he sits at 12-1 right now in his professional career.
Mhm.
I find it kind of disrespectful to put for those odds to be that much of a difference. So what's Carlos Solberg's odds again
Omega is actually, let me see there.
right
Minus,
now?
he's pretty high. He's minus 290
Minus 290, almost
for the money
minus
line. For the money
300.
line, he's minus, yeah, say 300. Really, if you think about it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
Oh,
crazy. I mean, I'd call it even disrespectful to Jan
yeah.
because he's number 3 ranked in the division. And
Yes.
this
Yeah.
Carlos Ulberg coming up 12-1 against Jan Blachowicz, who's 29-10.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, he fought Pereira and took him to,
And,
decision.
and
You know
Josh,
what I mean?
not
I mean,
not only that. I mean, you think about Jan's last two fights here. He's fucking fought both champions.
yeah,
Last
the
week,
current
Magomed.
champion
And
Magomed.
he's
Yeah,
he's
and he
taken him
took
to
him to a
a
draw
draw, a draw.
too.
That's what I
Yeah,
mean. Yeah, I mean the word you said, disrespectful. This is fucking disrespectful. Being almost a plus, plus 235 here.
yeah,
You know what? This might be my dog of the night right here. This might be my dog of the night because his resume, Josh, is name, 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 name.
yeah,
He's fought him, but you look at Oldberg. I get Josh 12-1. I get that, but Josh, think about who he's fought. The unanimous decision. That was a split, basic split to me.
yeah.
Okay,
Split
Men-
against Pereira, one of the
exactly.
baddest guys
Yes,
in the division right
yeah.
now.
And then he beat Menifeld in the first round. Okay, I get that. He won.
Mhm.
He won Du Wu Yong. He beat him. But these names doesn't compare to Jan's resume. It
Yeah,
doesn't. It's
dude,
disrespectful.
he's knocked out Luke Rockhold.
Yes.
He
Yes.
drawed with Magomed Ankalaev. I
Yes.
think he was Israel Adesanya's first loss, and
Hmm.
you cannot forget that. I
Right.
mean, then again, that's the past. This is now. This is the
Hmm.
future. He's had a couple surgeries, before coming on to this fight. He hasn't fought since Pereira. I mean, we'll see, man. I agree with you. I'm gonna go with Jan Blachowicz on this fight. I'm gonna go with him against Carlos Ulberg. I think with his resume, with his experience, I think he's gonna wipe this guy to the floor. And I think he's gonna be this guy's second loss. I think it's going to ruin Carlos
Okay.
Ulberg's 7-fight win streak. I
Okay.
think the only way for Carlos Ulberg to win is to take Jan Blachowicz down to the ground and hopefully hold him there because
Okay.
Jan's just so nasty on the feet. Um, which then again should have been Magomed Ankalaev's, take point against him, and ended up being a draw. So, and that was Magomed Ankalaev.
Yes.
That's a completely
Yes.
different beast. He's the champion
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, you've taken the last, the last co-champ and the current champ to the distance.
Yeah,
You went 10 rounds with both of these dudes, and
exactly.
the resume is well spoken for itself. But Josh, I mean, I'm looking at the odds here. Either winner, you don't have to pick a winner here. Decision's only minus 120 on both these guys. They're thinking it's a
Really?
decision.
So they think it's going to go
Yeah,
the whole distance? That's
they do.
crazy.
Yep. And
Um,
how do you think Jan's going to win this? If he does win it, Josh, are we looking at a decision? Are we looking at
knockout.
TKO?
Yeah,
Okay,
well, not knockout, TKO. I
Josh,
think he
I'll
can
tell you, you
ground
made
and
some
pound
money.
him or
You made some money if you do that, Josh. It's a plus 700.
plus 700. I mean, and then again, like this is one of those fights where I'm not thinking about trying to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about who with the heart. That's the thing for this fight card tomorrow. Like it's very biased. All my
Mhm.
picks tonight are very, very biased. And Jan Blachowicz, he's another one. And he's another one of those underdogs. I think I got three
You got three. You got the dog
three
tonight, man. You got
underdogs
the
in a row.
dogs going
Yeah,
on.
for the
Yeah.
main card. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, man. I think Jan Blachowicz has it, man. And you agree, right? Jan
No,
Blachowicz
you know
is
what?
going to take
No,
it.
I completely agree with you. I'm not even looking at the dog aspect of this. Number one
Yeah,
is disrespectful, and I'm looking at resumes, past fights here. Olberg is, yeah, I get he's 12-1, Josh, but that 12-1 doesn't compare to my man's 29-10. His record, Josh, those
yeah,
10 losses don't even compare to the fucking 12 wins that Olberg has to me.
yeah.
So, the biggest word to me is disrespectful. Number
Hmm.
two, I gotta go. I'm going with Jan here because man, listen, you take the fucking co-champ and the current champ the distance, and you show what you can do. His resume is far beyond this. I I got to go with Jan here, and I think it's going to go decision though. I really do. I mean, even though it's not a moneymaker, and even in regards to making money on this one, I think Jan wins this fight here because it's time to fucking just push
Experience
Oldberg
and
back a
IQ.
little bit.
It,
Yeah,
it's experience.
exactly.
It comes down to experience and IQ, and Jan has that in this fight.
Yeah,
Carl Solberg, he is younger. He's probably going to be a little bit faster. He's probably going
sure.
to be, but Jan Blachowicz has had that. He's
Yeah,
been the old guy in the fight for
hmm,
years now. He's been the
agree.
underdog. He's come out of these things, man. And yeah, I agree with you. I think we're gonna stand together on this one. I think
Yeah,
Jan
I
Blachowicz is
definitely.
gonna
Yeah,
win
I'm
the
going to
fight.
write that one down. We're definitely going to go. We're definitely going to go Jan here. Of course, I agree with that 100%, man. I want to see him win because Olberg to me is just. I don't want to say Chama train, but he's on the fucking train here. You know what I mean? Everybody's on the
Yeah,
train, 11-1.
7-fight win streak for the light
It,
heavyweight
yeah,
division is rare.
it
To be
is.
on
It
that
is.
high of a win streak at that
Mhm.
weight, you don't
Agree.
see that very often. I mean, he could. I mean, I'd say he's going to get that eighth win streak. He is there on the odds, but
Mhm.
Jan Blachowicz, he Israel Adesanya was undefeated before until he fought him. So
Exactly. Exactly.
we'll
Exactly.
just see.
Mhm.
We'll see tomorrow, man.
Definitely. Well, let's get to the main event, our last fight here. Let's talk about
Yeah.
this one. Leon Edwards versus SeanBrady. I already know which way you're going to go with this one here because I can
Oh, do
see
you
all.
then? Do you?
I think I actually do because you know what? We're going with the heart here tonight, aren't we? I mean, let's
Oh
continue
yeah.
the theme, right? We're going to continue the theme, right? Is that where we're
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then
Yeah, who do you
I'll
think? All
let
right,
you.
so then, Paul, if you think who I'm going for, who do you think it is?
I think you're going Brady here.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think
I'm
you ain't
going
gonna pull the
Brady.
wool over my eyes on this one, man. Um,
No, yeah, I'm going Brady for this one, man. I have
okay.
to. I've never been a big fan of Leon Edwards. I'm gonna come out and say I
Okay.
really never have been. He's not an entertaining heavyweight or not heavyweight, welterweight, should I
Welterweight.
say?
Hmm.
He's not he has more decision wins than anything, man. And
Yeah.
compared to like Kamara Usman and GSP, those champions, like he just, I don't know, he's underdog for a reason.
Hmm.
And I think Leon Edwards' reign is over. After seeing what Bilal Muhammad did to him in that last title match, even though he did make those excuses, it was at 5 a.m., it was this, and
Yeah.
that. It doesn't fucking matter. You are the champion in the UFC
Agree.
of the
Agree.
welterweight division. It doesn't matter what time it is, what day it is. You need to be prepared, and that's Islam Makhachev's theory of it. When he
Hmm.
had to come in short notice against Moicano, he didn't give a fuck who he was fighting. He's a
Yep.
champion. You
Yep.
know, and Leon Edwards, granted, it was hard for him. He did have to fight at 5 in the morning, but like I said, it doesn't fucking matter. You
Agree.
hold that belt. You need to be prepared to defend it. You had that camp. You were prepared for Bilal Muhammad, and Bilal Muhammad had unanimous decision over 5 rounds, dominated Leon Edwards,
Yeah.
and SeanBrady, he's a grapple heavy guy. He's one of those crotch sniffers that I like to talk about. And,
Hmm.
he has a impressive career with only being 17-1 and that one loss being a TKO against Bilal Muhammad,
Right in
which
the second round.
is
In the second round. Right.
kind
Right.
of embarrassing. You're getting punched out by, Bilal Muhammad. But the only thing you can do from that Bilal Muhammad fight is learn and grow, which SeanBrady has nothing else to do but learn and grow, learn better striking, learn better. He already has that
Mhm.
grappling. He already has that grappling background. But one fight that he's coming off of a win against Gilbert Burns,
Right,
which is one of
unanimous,
the
unanimous. Mhm.
unanimous. Yeah, it was unanimous. But yeah, Gilbert Burns, he ain't a guy to play with, and Sean Brady, took him and he won by decision, right? He
A
took
unanimous
yeah,
decision. Yep.
unanimous decision.
Mhm.
You know, I see him doing that again with Leon Edwards. I see it coming to decision. I see him grappling Leon Edwards, or maybe even looking for a submission. Trying to
Yeah.
submit him. If we see the same Leon that we saw against Bilal Muhammad, Sean Brady has his fight 100%.
Mhm.
You have to look at Leon's past, man. Like he was losing that fight against
Yeah.
Kamaru Usman until he got that
The
kick,
kick heard around the
that
world. Yeah.
famous kick.
Mhm.
Like a few minutes left in the fifth round, he was
Yep.
losing down all four rounds. It was like the Rocky moment, but he got lucky on that one. That was a
Yes, he
very
did.
lucky kick. That was pure luck. That was,
Yep.
he was losing against Kamaru Usman, who I'm a huge fan of. I love Kamaru Usman,
Mhm.
and
And I tell Josh real quick. I tell you what. I remember watching that fight. We were doing a show after that,
yeah,
and my question was, that was in the fifth round. I think with what 15 seconds to go in the entire fight. There, you're
yeah.
down. How could you be dominated? Fucking or in the Usman's category, how could you dominate a fight for 24 minutes and 45 seconds, and then you get fucking the kick of a lifetime? The kick
Yep.
heard around the world, and you fucking lost the fight there.
Yep.
15 seconds
One of the biggest
lost you the fight.
upsets. Yep.
One of the biggest upsets. And I remember that fight there, but you're right, man. The way he got dominated by Bel Muhammad, even Colby Covington, a unanimous decision. Okay,
Yeah.
and then Usman's last fight,
Don't even
a
get me
um,
started about
a fucking
Colby
majority
Covington.
draw, a fucking majority draw. Number one,
Yeah.
but his only highlight, Josh, is exactly what we're talking about. The kick heard around the world.
Yeah, the kick against Kamaru Usman. Other than that, like
It's
he has
nothing.
decision after decision after decision.
Mhm,
When he's always just been able to take fights into the deep ends, which is you got to give Leon Edwards credit for is his cardio, his
mhm.
ability to take those fights into the deep rounds and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's not the champion that the welterweight division needs.
Well, Josh, let me. I mean,
You know.
three out of 4 in title fights, man. I mean, he does show up. Of
Yeah, that
course,
is true. That
three
is
out of
true. I
four.
am kind of disrespecting him on that. He does have 3 out of
Mhm.
4 defenses, but then again, he fought Colby fucking Covington, who
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
is a washed up guy who just, talks out of his ass to try to get views. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
hundred
I
percent,
think
hundred
he's a
percent.
fake. I mean, granted, he's a UFC fighter. He's one of the
Sure.
best in the world. And back in the day, Dana White used to say like, if Kamaru Usman didn't exist, Colby Covington would be the greatest welterweight of all
Hmm.
time. And then that was years ago. And then Colby Covington, he showed hard against Joaquin Buckley. He showed hard
Hmm.
against Leon Edwards, but Leon Edwards beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
Joaquin Buckley beat the fuck out of him, and
Right.
that doesn't say too much. When Leon Edwards fought him, Colby Covington, he has more talk than he has bite, in my opinion, from what I've seen him doing in his later careers. And this is just the past
Agree.
couple of years of Colby Covington's performance I'm
Agree.
talking about,
Hmm.
but yeah, no, but Leon Edwards, having those 3 out of 4 title defenses, I do have to give him that credit. I do have to remember that. I do have to give him that respect. But I think he's one of those guys where the train's over. I think he's going to be one of those Israel Adesanya types, one of
Ooh.
those
Oh,
Alex Volkanovski types, where you had your reign. Well, it's time for these news guys to come up. It's time
okay.
for the Ian Garys, the Sean Brady's, the Shavkat Rachmanovs.
Yeah.
It's their time to shine. And I see Leon Edwards fighting those guys in the future as a top ranked guy. But I genuinely don't see Leon getting back into the title contention. That is completely biased as my
Sure.
opinion. That is how I see his future. I could be completely wrong. He could sit here and head kick Sean Brady to death, or he could outstrike him and get this dub and be in that title contention. But me personally, I do not see that happening to Leon Edwards. What about you, Paul? How do you see this fight going? What do you think about Leon's career? What about you, man? What
No,
do you
I
think about
completely agree with everything you said. I don't think Leon Edwards can be in contention anymore. I mean, to
it?
me, Yeah, I give it. 3 out of 4 title fights, I give him that, Josh. Just like how you said it. But my thing is this: he fights not to fucking lose. He doesn't fight to win, man. You know what I mean? He
Yeah, he
goes the
fights not
distance.
to lose. That's a good way to put it. I like that.
That's the way I like that because I mean he goes in there and it's like he doesn't show domination. Okay, he's a fucking great kickboxer. He doesn't really utilize that. His takedown defense has gotten better. I give him that. He has gotten better. But Josh, he in this division, man, you need to be out there. Your 2 fucking fights are against Usman, who boosted you, and you needed the last 15 seconds to solidify that win. And you go to a unanimous decision. And it was a fucking dominant fight where you got your ass kicked. And then Colby Covington, same thing. You win that one, but Usman, majority draw, which I don't even want to fucking this. Like we said, we ain't talking about that shit.
Yeah.
But I got to go Brady here. I think Brady is the guy on the totem pole to come up in this division. I really like Brady. I think Edwards, I don't think he gets knocked out, though. I really don't. But I don't know if this is going to go 5 rounds. Do you think that 4-inch height difference is going to come into play? That
Oh yeah,
that distance
definitely.
that distance is a four
Yeah.
4 inch, height wise, and he's got a 2.5 inch reach basically as
Oh yeah,
well.
yeah. No. Sean Brady has to be very careful.
Yes.
Because Leon Edwards is known for that head kick. He is known for
Mhm,
being a,
mhm.
you know. Thanks,
So,
Tim. Thanks for joining
thank you.
in, man.
Appreciate you, man.
But yeah, no. Leon Edwards. Like he does have that reach advantage. He does have that, and Sean Brady has to take that in
Hmm.
consideration. Which is probably where Sean Brady is going to try to Bilal Muhammad him and take him to
Yeah.
the ground, try to find a submission.
Yep.
Brady, if he's going to go at this fight, he's going to take Leon Edwards where he's uncomfortable to the
Exactly.
ground and dominate him. Now, do you see this fight going to a decision, or do you see this like being a KO submission type of fight?
Well, going on the track record of Leon Edwards, man, I believe it is going to go the distance because he's going to try to stay away from the striking. He's going to try to do that. He's going to try to pick his shots, stay away. The length and the reach is going to come into play. He's going to look for that one chance. He's going to try to have an Usman moment where he's going to get either a spinning back kick somewhere, a heel kick somewhere. That's what I see him doing. But I don't know, man. I think my thing is I think Brady wins this. I don't know if he's going to submit him or he's going to TKO him, Josh. I don't feel that because then again, man, Sean Brady's fucking 67% strike rate accuracy, man. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
accurate when he throws. And Leon, if you catch him, you get him early, he could be fucking shattered, dude. He can be demolished right early, man. Because a lot of his fights, Josh, we know they go the distance. He goes in deep water. He goes that 3rd round or 5th round. He's been there, done that. And you know what? This time you go the distance, you're putting in the judge's hands. So I don't put anything in judge's hands anymore. I want to see a knockout, but if it
Yeah.
goes, I think it's decision. I'm going to go Brady decision here.
Yeah, especially with the judges nowadays and how they're
Yeah,
calling fights, it's best to try to get those,
end it early, man.
KOs
End
when
it
you can,
early.
those
Yep.
submissions when you can. Well, one thing we have to take into consideration too about Leon Edwards is that Bilal wasn't able to finish him, even though Bilal, almost every fight Bilal has,
Yeah.
he's never gotten like that finish, or he's always been to decision. But even though how dominant Bilal was, Leon was still able to defend from
Yeah.
certain transitions, certain submissions, everything like that. And we have to take that into consideration when he goes up against Sean Brady.
Hmm.
Will he still be able to defend those transitions? Will he still be able to defend a submission that Sean could be looking for? Like we do have to take that in consideration. This is Leon Edwards, even though I'm kind of hating on him right now. He was at one point the welterweight champion,
Right. Right.
and you can't take that away from him. This is a. I think this is going to be a very entertaining fight.
I agree.
Between Sean Bray and
I
Leon
agree.
Edwards. I think you know Jack Della Maddalena would have been a more interesting fight,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think this one's going to be very fun. I think Brady's going to get the win. I think he's going to dominate. I think he's going to get the. I think it's going to go to decision, and I think
Okay.
it's going to be unanimous. I think
You got
Leon
this.
Edwards can show some cool stuff in the first, maybe even in the later rounds. Like show something in the fourth or fifth. But I think Sean Brady is going to get the control time. He's going to get some ground to pound on him. Going to get some submission attempts.
Okay.
Yeah, I really want to give this fight to Sean
Sean
Brady.
Brady. Okay, so you got unanimous on Brady here. I agree. I'm not going to give him unanimous. I think Leon plays around maybe 1 or 2 rounds, pulls maybe 1 or 2 out of his
You
ass
see a
somehow.
split.
Yeah, I see a split here, but I like how you said in the beginning here. I think Brady goes back and watches that Bilal fight. You know what I mean? I think he watches that. There's a lot of film work on that one there
Hmm.
because to me, you're right. I mean, it was domination, but then again, you give Leon Edwards credit. He lasted 5 fucking rounds. I'll
Yeah,
give
he
you that.
lasted 5 rounds,
You know,
and he didn't get finished by
right?
Bilal. Bilal couldn't
Exactly. Yep.
find the finish,
Mhm.
and
And
give
we
him credit for that.
and we know he can go the deep end, man. He goes 5 rounds pretty much. He goes the distance in every fucking fight he ever has in his life. Basically, it goes there. And I think it's going to be the decision. I just don't see it's going to be a knockout. I can't see it happening. But I agree. I'm going to go decision as well. I'll just go split. You go
Mhm.
unanimous there. But man, what's your fight of the night, Josh? What's your fight of the night? What's your fight of the night
Fight of
tomorrow?
the night. So,
Yep.
fight of the night.
Yep. If there's only one fight on the card, Josh, and you pick it, what is your one fight that you want to watch tomorrow night? One fight.
Kevin Holland all day. Kevin Holland,
Really?
Gunnar Nelson. Yeah, because dude,
Okay. Okay.
Kevin Holland has probably more highlights than
Okay.
anybody else on the card, a
Okay.
card combined.
Okay.
You never know what you're gonna get with Kevin Holland. Never know.
Gotcha. Okay.
It can be a boring snooze fest, and he might get his ass kicked, or it could be one of the most entertaining welterweight fights you've ever seen.
Okay.
But I want to give it to Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland. I want to give him the props, and I give that the fight of the night.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the main event. I like this main event
Main
here.
event.
Leon versus Sean Brady. Short notice fight here, basically. How camp differs. I want to see this fight because I like it. 17-1 coming off, a welterweight coach champion before. I like to see it. To me, this is a changing of the guards, if you may. You know what I mean? Sean Brady's an up and coming guy, 17-1, short notice, come in there, beat him. And I love how you said was Leon Edwards. He's going to be that guy. He's going to be like a stepping stone for the younger fighters to
Oh
move,
yeah.
make a way. I like that. I don't think Leon Edwards is the contention, but Josh, if he wins this fight, man,
If
we're
Leon wins.
yeah, if Leon wins, are we going to put him back in this
Oh yeah,
category? Like,
100%. He's going to be in the title contention. Yeah, yeah. I
okay,
mean, he's number one. He sits as
yes,
number one right now in the
exactly.
welterweight division. If he beats
Mhm.
Sean Brady, he's probably most likely the winner of this fight tomorrow night is going to not defeat, but he is going to fight the winner of Muhammad versus Della Maddalena.
Okay, okay, okay. All right, I like how you said that too. So, I mean, next week, Josh, of course, we'll be recapping, what we talk about here next Friday. But
Oh yeah.
man, real quick, next Saturday night, man, I like the card too. Did you see the card for next Saturday night?
I don't think I did. No.
I'll
No,
give you.
that's Brandon Moreno, ain't it?
Yeah, we got Brandon Moreno versus Steve Ursig. Okay, we got
Oh yeah,
Manuel
that's gonna
Torres
be
versus Drew
fun.
Dober, Kevin Gaston versus Joe Pfeiffer. I love this guy.
Oh, Kevin Castellan versus Joe Pfeiffer.
Yes, yes.
That's gonna be a
And
fun card
we
next
had.
week.
I
And it's a
love
free
watching this.
card?
It's a free card,
Oh,
UFC
that's
Fight Night
crazy.
next
That's gonna
Saturday
be
night.
fun.
And I like the one guy, Raul Rojas. Man, something about this kid, coming in.
Oh,
He's on the card
yeah.
against Vince Mendez next week. So, man, yeah,
Promising career, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, his one fight, he just came out like he's all balls to the wall. His only loss where he just ran out of gas. You run out of gas and that young, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But this is a free card next week, man.
Yeah. I'm excited. Man, I'll be excited to talk about that one.
Definitely. So next week, hey, Friday night, 7 p.m. Listen, out there, if you're listening to the show, we have 184 live viewers on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, everywhere out there. Listen, we always give our picks, but we do this for fun, man. Okay, we're not about making money. These are all fun picks for us, opinionated. Josh tonight was a clear example. It's not about the money. It's about the heart picks for Josh tonight. So if you put your money where you want to do it, go ahead and do it. You take our advice, you do it. You don't come on the show next week and say you fucked me, okay? Because we're not all about that. We win, we lose, but you know what? We're UFC fans, and all we want is a good fucking card. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes,
That's
sir.
all we want. That's all we want, man. So, Josh, I appreciate you once again, man. And Friday night we'll be back giving our, going over the results here, see who was right, who was wrong, and let's see if Josh was right with that heart next week.
Yes, sir, Paul. Thank you again for having me, man. It was another fun
show.
show.
Man, it's a pleasure to all mine, brother. So, hey, my name is Paul Spencer. That is Josh Gordon, a.k.a. the Justin Bieber of the network. And we will see you next week, same time, same place, Friday, 7 p.m. Until then, have a great night, everybody.